So guys, so a couple of my athletes, women athletes I was talking to, they grew up in the program, but they're now women. So they asked me, they were talking to me about men, why men not really committing. They always want to be like dogs and stuff, just chasing, chasing around other women and stuff, not being faithful. What happened to all the good men? And it's like that for every generation. When I was young, I heard the same crap from my mom's friends when I used to babysit their, their kids in my teens. I've heard it from my friends when I was in my 20s. Now I'm hearing it from the generation now. The same question. And so I say, I'm talking to them. I say, look, men are going their own way now, because more so than ever, because of a few things. One, legally, women have more power in the legal system than men, and men usually lose out. 99% of the time they lose out. If they get married and a woman decides to divorce him, and women do initiate divorce 80% of the time. So it's more likely that you as a woman will divorce your husband. Usually the man loses half of everything he's worked hard for, regardless if you did anything or not. So it's financially not a viable thing to marry a woman. So the good men are not really, they'll marry. I'm not against marriage. But they're looking for a particular kind of woman where they can feel comfortable and at home with, to marry. And not all marriages work, even if you find one of those, things happen. But for a man, you're losing half your shit. That's just the reality. Why women are not looking real men, or men, the good men, you're not seeing them. Second, you're not looking for the good men, because you're seeing, it's like going to Las Vegas. You're seeing all the lights and the glitter and glamour, right? That draws your attention. That's like the gutter rat men on the side of the road. They flashy clothes, a nice, maybe a nice car, fast talkers, but they're still living in your mama's house. They ain't really got no real job. They're just kind of deadbeats. But they got that swag, and they have that excitement that they bring, and you're thinking, living in the here and now, in the moment, and not even thinking about the future. So you tend to choose those men over the guy, or like in Las Vegas, the background, the people that's in the background making all these lights and stuff work. You're not looking at the guy, a young man that's studying, that's going to college, who isn't out partying on the weekends, but he's in the books, he's in the library, or he's out there learning a craft, learning a trade. He's in trade school, mechanic school, and stuff like that. You ain't looking at those kind of guys, because they don't make the noise, and they don't create the glitz and glamour that draws your attention. In other words, you're not using your intelligence. And I'm not talking about experience, I'm talking about your intelligence. It's almost an instinctual thing. Your intelligence is how you apply what you know, some understanding that comes instinctually. When you're hungry, that's intelligence. When you need to go take a piss. Your body sends a signal to you, and it's a form of intelligence. I need to go take his piss. Something like along those lines. That's the simplest way I could put it. So, intelligence, right? So you're not using that, and you're giving your prime years. This is where there's a couple of these young athletes that you're giving your prime years right now to men that's doing nothing with their lives except showing you a good time. That's only gonna last a few days, a few weeks, or maybe a month, a year. All right. I even show them examples of some of our former athletes that's pregnant with 3 or 4 kids, 3 or 4 different guys, have nothing. They see them. So that's how you're going to be when you're her age, if you'll continue along this path. Men, you're ignoring the guys that's doing something because they're not the glamorous type guys. Okay? So, and thirdly, when you do grow that brain, you're already too old. You already gave up your prime years to these low life men that's going nowhere. So your value is now diminished for two reasons. You're old, and second, there are more women in the world than men. So there are a lot of younger women that's there to replace you completely. It's kind of like a drug dealer. You kill one or one die, you got 4 more spring up on the same block. It's kind of like that. That's how I explained it to them. So you gotta invest some time and energy into yourself. Set some standards. Pull back on the glitz and glamour, the stuff, the good time. Worry about, look at the guys that's actually doing something with his life. Has a potential to do some of his life. He's studying. He has a plan. He's working on that plan to achieve something. Stand by him. All right. And one of the other things that I was explaining to them that women don't, why you're not seeing the good guys, that the good guys are not looking for women who, how can I put it? You're looking for a man, a traditional man. He has to provide and protect. But you're not willing to provide present yourself as a traditional woman. Alright? You're not trying to provide, because to you that's being a slave. And I told him the story. I said, the Hindu religion has this in the Srimad Bhagavatam tells about God coming to earth in his masculine and feminine energy. Masculine energy is Krishna, his feminine energy is Radharani. And Radharani is totally devoted to the happiness of Krishna. Completely devoted. To the point where, because she's so devoted to his well-being and his everything, when he is completely under her power. So he can't do anything without her lending him her power, or herself, her energy. And modern women think by fighting the man and arguing with the man and resisting the man, they're going to bring him under their control, when in reality those men are simply not going to deal with that, and they've actually grown a brain, some self-respect, and is walking away from that approach. So that's why men are going their own way. You can't find the good men, because they don't want to be found by women like you. And when I ask them, and I said that, and I say women like you because I'm going to ask you, are you willing to completely devote your very existence to the happiness of a man? And they all said no. Then, if you're not willing to do that, he will never be under your control. If you want true power, become submissive and dedicate your existence to that man. And there's some bums out there, some pretenders out there that would take advantage of that. That's not really a real man. That's not a complete man. That man has issues. He has mental issues. He has emotional issues. He needs some therapy. So I'm not talking about a minority of people. I'm talking about a majority of men out there. I also talked to them about a legal system, particularly childbirth and divorce. When a woman decides to have a child, if she gets pregnant and she decides to have that child but a man doesn't want it, legally she could have that child and force the man to have to support that child that she wanted. Also, if a man wants a child and the woman doesn't want it, she can legally kill the child and face no repercussions legally. And there's nothing he can do about it. Third, divorce. If a man is a tradition, if you want a traditional man and he's providing and protecting, so he goes out to work, he grinds, he makes that money, he brings it home, you take care of the house, and you decide one day you ain't want to be with him no more, and 90% of women, no, 80% of women file for divorce. So it's highly likely this guy's, you're gonna leave. So he loses half his shit right away. Plus he has probably had to pay alimony on top of that for the rest of his life. Things like that. So legally, it's not financially viable for a man to even be bothered with a woman, especially if he's going to lose his youth. He'll put all his youth into his work and then lose all of it or most of it when he's an adult. Prime examples of stuff going on like that. Look at Gary Owen is going through a divorce from his wife. What's his name? Robert De Niro is going through a divorce with his wife. And that guy got to work like a slave now just to live a lifestyle that he's unaccustomed to, because she's going to get most of his stuff. I haven't really followed the details of it, but it's happening. Look at what's the big one that's happening? It's going on for a few years. Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, and that's another one. They was only married for a year, but it's crushing his career. And she was put up on a pedestal. Turned out she was lying like the devil when that video came out. But damage already done, and the people in power, they kind of like, don't want to apologize, so the damage continues. So those are like some examples I explained to these women why men are going their own way. So if you don't want to be married, if you don't want to be a traditional woman, you can't expect a traditional man. You can't, if you want a man to be monogamous, then you got to be able to provide for him sexually. And most women don't want to do that. They want the guy to conform to their will without wanting to please him or completely devote their entire lives to him. That masculine energy and feminine energy. So what's happening is that men has retained most of their masculine energy. They have some feminine energy, but a lot of the feminine energy is amplified through learning from being raised by women. And a lot of women's mainly feminine energy are using the minority energy, their masculine energy most of the times nowadays. So they're fighting their own selves, and it's creating a lot of rift in as far as relationship goes in modern times. If you have any questions, ask it in the comment section down below. Like and subscribe. I believe this topic is important. I do believe in marriage. I am MGTOW, not in the community per se. I don't go to like meetings and all that stuff, but I am MGTOW in the sense that I don't need. I'm happy within myself, and this is something I also explained to this woman, to these women in the boxing program. I am happy within myself. For some reason or another, I wasn't really hypersexualized. So if I'm in a relationship, I'm in it. I can, I perform well sexually. When I'm not in a relationship, I can go completely celibate. But having both experiences, being like sexually active and celibate, I find being celibate comes with more peace and less stress. Most of the times. So I prefer to, so I'm not in a rush to jump into a relationship just to have one. So I'm kind of MGTOW, because I'm looking for the woman that deserves what I have, what I've worked 25 years of my life for, to have access to. If she's not devoted to me, can't be completely devoted to me, she can't have complete access to me and my assets. Not my ass, my assets. So these are things you gotta look at, that I look at. I find modern women, mainly Western women, carry a lot of first world problems that third world country women do not have, because first world man has created an ecosystem where women can live such plush and easy lives. They have so much time. They have time to micro critique, and from that micro criticism find things to be miserable about. But if, for instance, something goes south and those same women have to survive, a lot of these problems that men and women are facing today will go away, because it's about survival. Men has shot themselves in the foot by creating an ecosystem where it is easy access to food, easy access to money, easy access to water, easy access to the world, through the internet. You know, you got a lot of things that women are easily accessible to, so they bring a lot of first world problems to the relationship. They want. It's a selfish approach, but they want a man that's not selfish. And there are a lot of men. Most men want women, even the ones in MGTOW. Yeah, they can live without you, so they just go their own way until someone presents themselves. Now there are a few on the extremes that they're totally done with women, you know. But you know, there's extremes in everything. But I find myself dating more first generation women who come to this country. They don't have those problems. So like, subscribe. Y'all have a good day.